Look outside, it's already light and the stars ran away with the night.
In Judges chapter 14, verses 11 through 19, we read, "When the bride's parents saw him, they selected 30 young men from the town to be his companions. Samson said to them, 'Let me tell you a riddle. If you solve my riddle during these 7 days of the celebration, I will give you 39 linen robes and 30 sets of festive clothing. But if you can't solve it, then you must give me 30 fine linen robes and 30 sets of festive clothing.' 'All right,' they agreed. 'Let's hear your riddle.' So he said, 'Out of the one who eats came something to eat. Out of the strong came something sweet.' 3 days later, they were still trying to figure it out. On the 4th day, they said to Samson's wife, 'Entice your husband to explain the riddle for us, or we will burn down your father's house with you in it. Did you invite us to this party just to make us poor?' So Samson's wife came to him in tears and said, 'You don't love me. You hate me. You have given my people a riddle, but you haven't told me the answer.' 'I haven't even given the answer to my father or mother,' he replied. 'Why should I tell you?' So she cried whenever she was with him and kept it up for the rest of the celebration. At last, on the 7th day, he told her the answer because she was tormenting him with her nagging. Then she explained the riddle to the young men. So before sunset of the 7th day, the men of the town came to Samson with their answer. 'What is sweeter than honey? And what is stronger than a lion?' Samson replied, 'If you hadn't plowed with my heifer, you wouldn't have solved my riddle.' Then the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon him. He went down to the town of Ashkelon, killed 30 men, took their belongings, and gave their clothing to the men who had solved his riddle. But Samson was furious about what had happened, and he went back home live with his father and mother. Have you ever made an emotional decision? Here's what I mean. You're struggling with something tough. You have a lot invested in the outcome, and you think you even know what you should do. You hang in there, but you have a lot of other things going on in your life, so it's hard to focus. Finally, overcome by the stresses, probably including some external influences, you give in. You abandon your original plan because it was just too hard. You couldn't take the pressure anymore. And this is when the real trouble actually starts. Now you have to deal with the fallout of giving in. We don't like to think of ourselves as emotional. Women are emotional, not us men. We're strong. We're logical. We're thinkers. But the truth is, all humans are emotional beings. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. That's how God made us. It's when we allow those emotions to drive our actions that we get ourselves into trouble. In today's reading, we find out what happens with Samson and the Philistines' drinking buddies slurping adult beverages during his bachelor party. These guys hate him, but they're content to stay as long as he's buying. Samson decides to mess with them. So he makes them a bet that he can tell them a riddle that they won't be able to solve. I don't want to spoil it for you, but I'll give you a hint. Samson is basically bragging about breaking his second rule. Don't touch anything dead. When they can't figure the answer, they threaten Samson's fiancée to pressure her into giving it to them. And when they smugly give him the right answer on the last day, Samson realizes immediately what must have happened. Now, here's what I really want you to see here. Because Samson allowed his impulses and his emotions to lead him, rather than God's Spirit, he made one bad decision after another. Samson never corrects his course, but even when it's time for him to pay the consequences for his own actions, still, God's strength never leaves him. Our strength from the Lord comes from the Lord. He made us to be warriors, after all, which is precisely why we need to let His Spirit lead us. We have to be able to discern what, when, where, and how to fight. And we need to fight only for the things that are truly worth fighting for. Don't trust your emotions. Trust God's Spirit within you.
To me, we'll find a way.